So we've kind of walked through the specs on paper, but now we want to take a look at these two units. We've got the 4000i and the 5500. As you can tell, they're the exact same size, and we just have a bigger engine in the 5500 than the 4000. Our 4000 is 1.5 by 1.5, 3 inches smaller than our competitor. When we move over to the 55, it's closer to 3.5 by 3.5 by 5 inches smaller. So we've got a compact design in these inverter generators. On the 4000, we're taking around 50 pounds of weight or more compared to our competitors, and over 120 pounds of weight out. So we've got size and reduction in weight between these two models. Being an inverter generator, the beauty of that is at base load, we're 50% more fuel efficient, at half load, 40%, and when we're really tipping the things out, still 30% more fuel efficient than a competing model. Because if we're not using the amp load, then the motor slows down, RPMs drop, and less amperage output, less fuel consumption. Now the 4000, you can see this bottom rack here, also has arms that come up to hang in a motorized chassis type application. When we look inside the unit, we've got a 30 amp service, we've got our gas primer, and then the reset for overload. All of our generators are built with an auto prime feature, so when we press to engage the start sequence, it auto primes and then starts to engage in the starting sequence. Built inside both of these generators is an emergency recoil start, so if your batteries get too low to start your generator over, we've got a backup feature. We have several patents around the safety suite around fuel shutoffs, and then inside, and you'll be able to see when we take this top off, is a control for switching between LP and gas, and you can switch on the fly between the two as long as you're plumbed to both. Another nice feature of having the LP and gas is if you're running gas off your chassis most of the season and hooked to LP or even an auxiliary tank, you can switch over to propane, burn out the residual gasoline that is in the dual fuel carburetor, allowing for a clean carb going into your winter season, therefore no varnishing or gumming up of the carburetor system. When we look at the 55, we can see that we've got a 20 amp and a 30 amp, and then we've got our resets, our gas prime, and the push button start. Now I would say, since it has auto prime, folks really typically do not need that gas prime function unless it's perhaps first start or new install. Again, we've got the fuel selection indicator, so down to the left we've engaged in LP, and to the right we're back into the gasoline mode. 5500, same features. We've got a bigger engine set here, a larger inverter to control that, but as you'll see built into this, here's our LP regulator, fuel pump, everything's nice and easily accessible within that. So the biggest takeaways, from a sales perspective is smaller, lighter, more fuel efficient. The last thing I would add is that what we've built in being an inverter generator is that built into the starting sequence, if we see a heavy load, for example, the inverter ignores that for 7 seconds, so we can actually take a higher amperage load than the 30. So with a heavy load from, let's say, a air conditioner or a microwave coming on, it doesn't overload. It allows it to have that extra bandwidth because the engine can handle it. And that's a quick overview of our 4000i and our 5500i. We've got several more models coming out, so stay tuned.